Welcome to Monday Mojo, and we are honored to have Marty with us. You're going to hear an awesome story about just not letting obstacles deter you from your fitness. And so, as you think of questions, just put them in the chat, and then we'll take a time towards the end to maybe answer some of those. So, and mute your mics too, and then except for Marty, and then he can share his story. And so, take it away, Marty.
Okay, and if you have questions, ask. That it seems like everybody knows. Well, everybody knows somebody that they want to help today. The population of the United States is amazingly morbidly obese, and that's where I can really help. Is if you have questions about how do I reach out to somebody, I'll share what insights I have and what helped me. Peter, why don't you go ahead and show some pictures right away if you've got them, just so I'll have that from where I came from. If you got a couple after, it'd be great. Yeah, that's when we were at the Chicago Zoo about 4 years ago, close to 5. And that's my before and after picture that I used for my challenge that I made the finals with. That's going back about 7 years, probably right around 500 pounds in that picture. And the one to the right was when I just first joined Beachbody. That one I really liked. That's when I was at Beachbody headquarters, and I just had to take that picture with Shalene. That was down at Summit, and that's Tracy Morrow. She's the head of our team. Very huge team. One of 2, Doug Fitzgerald as well. So that kind of gives you an idea where I came from. I was morbidly obese until I was in my mid-40s. I'd given up total hope. At that age, at nearly 600 pounds, I wasn't able to fit in any clothes. And I wasn't able to fit into any type of exercise clothes either, even shorts and a T-shirt were not comfortable. Being in constant pain and probably closer to death than what I'd care to admit. And never comfortable in any position, no matter whether I was standing, sitting, laying down. So it's kind of tough to get motivated at that point in your life whenever you're absolutely in pain. And I had a coworker tell me, actually my boss, when he first met me, I was walking down a set of stairs, and he said, Marty, I never saw anybody walk down a set of stairs in as much pain and uncomfortably as you walk downstairs. That's pretty sad whenever you can't even negotiate down a flight of steps. I had sleep apnea and acid reflux. Probably between the 2 of them worked hard against me. Not being able to get any rest made it very difficult to exercise. I was easily winded. I did lift weights. I was a weightlifter, and I kidded myself that because I was in the gym lifting weights and laying down, I mean, you can lay down to do weightlifting and sit down. So I thought that was keeping me in shape, and at 600 pounds, I just was kidding myself. One of the toughest things I had to overcome was taking my journey seriously myself. And I'd shared it with my wife and a couple other people, but especially my wife, Noreen, who's in the room. And when I told her, Noreen, I figured it out. I've got an answered prayer here. I'm going to lose some weight. She laughed at me. And she knows now that it was very hurtful. So I just kept it to myself. But so I went on the journey by myself. It seemed like for the longest time, 100 pounds, 200 pounds, 300 pounds, that no matter what I lost, the journey was just too far, to get into shape, to become athletic, which was my goal. What changed for me was my definition of exercise. And this is where you can help the morbidly obese. No matter what shape you're in, you can have a goal of exercise being pushing as hard as one can until you can't. You exercise and you push until you can't. So if that's moving your feet up and down while you're sitting down and your arms, and that's all you could do, and that's all I could do, to me, that's exercise for that person. Get some motion in. And then intensity would be how fast you can repeat that exercise. So at first, I did the movements, and I would get up and jog in place, and a very light jog with heavy stomps, obviously, because of my size. And then I just continued to repeat it. Another major thing that changed for me was my eating habits. Absolutely giving up on processed foods. If you're working with the morbidly obese, the 21-day fix, which Randy Hernandez, I don't know, is anybody familiar with her? If you shake your head, yes. She's a very close friend of mine, and we're both from Seward, Nebraska. She started her weight loss journey about 2 years ago, year and a half, lost 150 pounds, went from 300 pounds at a little over 5 foot tall down to 150 pounds, and she won the ladies' side of the $100,000 of the Beachbody Challenge. Very proud of her. Being a female and now 54 years old, again, disproving the theory or the idea that you're too old, too far out of shape, and the wrong gender to be able to lose weight. I work in a grocery store. I do computer programming for them, and Randy would come in and shop at the store that I work at. And she was so out of shape and so obese that she had to lay across her cart, and she could barely walk the store while she laid on that cart, leaned over it, using it as a walker. She could barely make it through the store. Today, she finishes all the 21-day fix and 21-day fix extreme workouts. So eating real food, that was one thing that really had to change for me. And knowing what real foods were and switching to high nutrient, low calorie foods, period. And for me, I think everybody's a Beachbody coach in this call. That's correct. I mean, this is Beachbody or not? Okay, Peter, unmute your mic, please, for me.
It is Beachbody, but a lot of it's our clients, people that are doing programs, so they're not all coaches.
Okay, that's fine. I'm sold on the Shakeology and greens, the added greens, because it's high nutrient, low calorie. It's full of superfoods. So for me, that isn't a sales pitch. That's my life. For several years now, I've been doing Shakeology for breakfast every morning. Being a male, doing heavy exercise, and everybody adds something to their Shakeology. Some people say it's a foul ball, but I add extra protein. I would encourage any man doing heavy exercise, get some protein into that diet as well. Protein powder, excuse me. For me, my weight loss journey started with an answered prayer. I prayed for years. Very spiritual man, very godly man. I have to believe in miracles because I am one. I have no choice. I lost 100 pounds before I noticed a difference. A full 100 pounds, down to 475 pounds, before I noticed a difference in the clothes that I was wearing, and barely went down any clothes sizes because of the size that I was. I couldn't wear any normal clothes at that point. What really got me motivated, though, was my grandson's dedication. He was newly born, and we were going to a baby dedication for him, and I could not go to the dedication because I could not find any regular clothes to wear to that dedication. Plus, I was supposed to be up on stage with him, and the shape I was in, I sweat in a cold room. I sweat if I sat outside in 20 below weather. So there was no way for me to go to that dedication, and that was quite a wake-up call for me. I lost another 100 pounds, down to 375 pounds, a little under 400 pounds, before other people actually started to notice. A full 200 pounds. So it was a journey all by myself at that point. It was something that I had to strive for myself. I had to be dedicated to it. I asked Noreen several times over that period. That was about a 4-year period. I kept asking my wife, I said, Noreen, can you tell a difference? And she was honest, which I wanted her to be. No, Marty, I haven't seen a difference in you. Lost another 100 pounds before I could start properly exercising. down to 275 pounds. And to a lot of people, 275 pounds is a pretty large person. To somebody that weighed close to 600 pounds, 275 pounds was fairly thin. But I was still in a size 54-inch pant, which I know because I started a new job 3 years ago. And I wore a 3X shirt and could barely fit into the pack and save shirts that I wear. I lost another 100 pounds before, okay, yeah, so I covered that. Lost another 50 pounds before I became athletic, the weight that I'm at now. I do Casada martial arts classes now. And I do those thanks to Beachbody workouts. The fact that I was able to do my Beachbody workout is what got me into shape to be able to take Casada martial arts, which is a lot of heavy bag punching. And it has a lot of the Tabata, if I'm pronouncing that properly, theory mixed into it. At 275, I was down to my wrestling high school weight. I wrestled heavyweight. Right now, I went from at 275 when I started the pack and save, or close to 300. I went from the size 54-inch waist down to a 34 now, 32, 34. And I went from the 3X shirt and should have been wearing a 4 they didn't have. I'm down to a medium. The bookkeeper, Gail Richards, who is my coach, pointed out to me, she said, Marty, medium shirts are what the high school girls wear. Being kind of ornery. But I do have a 42-inch chest. So I'm not small through the chest. It's just the fact that I can wear the shirts that I do because of my small stomach. So from there, between the 240 to 225, somewhere in there, 235, I lost 10 inches off my waist without losing 10 pounds. But a lot of that was the fact that my skin continued to contract and my body just was still shrinking from the weight loss that I had put it through. And I contribute that to proper diet and exercise, getting the right nutrients into my body. I started off with T25. When I started with T25 workouts, the first 5 minutes, I could not finish the first 5 minutes of the workout. Absolutely. So I went back and Gail signed me up and she said, what'd you think the first time I did it? I said, Gail, I'm a bodybuilder, I'm a weightlifter, and that's what I'm a power lifter, excuse me. And I said, that's what I'm going to have to stick with. And she said, Marty, just take it home, push play. So I did that. I had to repeat the beta twice before I was ready to move on to the beta round. And now I do burpees without any problem in Casada class or whenever I'm at a fit club. Burpees are my favorite. And the reason I love burpees so much is because everybody else hates them. And because I can do them and I can hang with about anybody. I mean, if you can do 25 burpees, I'm going to do 25 with you. I don't care how dead I am whenever it's done, because it was something I couldn't crawl up and down. Since then, I finished P90X3, Insanity, both Asylums, Max 30, and like I say, for my March 15th, that was my 52nd birthday, I started Casada martial arts classes. Helping the obese. And this is something I read off of Michael's page, and it really stuck with me. I just read it this evening. You posted it. And that is, inspire them by speaking in a way that builds them up. Build them up. Encourage them. Timing is their choice. You encourage them. Whether or not and when they want to start a weight loss journey is their choice. You can't decide that for them. You can encourage them. And don't encourage them just on diet alone, but on overall self-esteem, because it's a self-esteem issue whenever you're that size. And you don't have to be large to have an issue with it. I talked to one lady. She's 15 pounds overweight and takes it so seriously, she has low self-esteem because of it. You don't have to have 150 pounds to lose. You don't have to be looking for clients like that. There are people out there that are out of shape and want to get into shape. Be their friend, not their counselor. Friend them, talk to them, especially if you haven't been there yourself. And even though I've been there, I don't say that I can help anybody else out, in the sense that my journey's my journey. My path was my path. And because this worked for me, would mean that it would work for them if they would follow it, but it doesn't mean that they would follow it. It doesn't mean that it would work for them. So I can't push my ways on them. They have to find their own way. Make a big deal over their little achievements. They have so little to be happy about whenever you have an issue like that. Encourage them that way. You know, if they walk the block, don't say, oh, you should have walked, you know, you got to walk 5 blocks minimum. Don't discourage them. Say, wow, you walked a block. That's amazing. Keep it up. Encourage them. Give them hope. And know for sure your help is what is sound advice. Make sure you do your studying. Make sure that the advice you give them on diet, the advice you're giving them on exercise is sound advice before you ever even give it. And if it is, then give them hope. A lot of my issue was until 45, I didn't know what to do. So how could I have any hope in anything? I tried the Atkins diet. I tried several other diets, and nothing worked for me. The high fruit juice diet, everything put weight on me instead of taking it off. I tried extreme exercise until I couldn't. The advantages to me for Beachbody is it's a proven results. Push play, follow it. Do what you can. Listen to them. Especially what I like about Max 30 and some of the newer ones that are coming out, they've got a modifier that you can see all the time. I push so hard in Casada with the heavy bag and roundhouse kicks and punches with the bag. I only do the modified for the Max 30 because I get enough intensity otherwise. I want to sweat in it. I don't want to beat myself up. Another nice thing about it is you can do it in the privacy of your own home. Peter was talking about doing size. Don't know how good a dancer you are. I'm not a dancer. But it's something you probably wouldn't do in a large group, but you can do comfortably from home. And when I start size, and that's something I really am looking forward to because I was being morbidly obese most of my life, I don't have any dance moves. This will give me an opportunity to learn them. Covers the nutrition side. And this is where Randy really proved. She repeated the 21-day fix cycle 14 times to lose the 150 pounds. And has followed those cups ever since. I got a lot of my diet and nutrition in place before I ever started Beachbody. I've been straightforward about that. So I've never done the cups, but I understand already what I need to eat. And the Shakeology, like I say, is tremendous. So that's pretty much what I have to share, and we're right at 10 minutes left. I open it up to some questions, if there are any.
Yeah, if anybody has questions, you can either unmute yourself or you can just type it in the chat box. There's a question from me waiting for you.
In the chat box?
Yeah. Do you know how to pull that up yet?
Yeah. Oh, you got Randy as a guest next week.
Yeah. That's Pete's doing.
Yeah, I'm hitting all 8.
Very good. Very good. Michael asked, I know I can get discouraged if I don't see immediate results. How do you keep going for so long without seeing results? What kept you going? Why didn't you quit? For me, it was the fact that I knew that my body was changing even though I couldn't see the change. And I encourage people, especially probably more so, Michael, what has people quit is when they plateau and they don't see any results whatsoever. And if you plateau, what you want to do is you want to take a gut check and say, hey, is my nutrition where it should be? Have I lacked something? Have I slipped? Is my exercise still as intense as it used to be? If that's in place and you've showed any type of results, I don't care if you're just trying to get fit or actually lose weight. If it worked at one time, stay the course. There's too much given to the fact that you've got to change up every so often. And change up is important. Your body does get used to a certain exercise. It does get used to a certain routine. It never gets used to proper nutrition. Never gets used to not getting bad nutrition in it. The body never adjusts to that. I don't know that unless a nutrient like iron is fat soluble, I don't know that you can overeat nutrients like you can calories. You cannot get too many nutrients in your diet, not too many varieties of foods. So really, it's the fact that when you plateau, you just stay the course. For me, it was the fact that I had faith, like I say. It was an answered prayer for me. It was going to be a done deal. I stayed the course. And I told my wife many times, I said, Noreen, it isn't working, I'm going to quit. And she said, Marty, you've come too far. You've done too much. From Colleen, Corey's, did you feel that you would reach the big goal, or did you make a lot of little goals? I made a lot of little goals, but my goal has always been, my main goal has always been, and it should be for everyone, to become more fit today, in better shape today than what I was yesterday. If you do that every day, I don't know who's read the book by Darrell Harding, if I can even think of the name of it right now, Compound Effects. Wonderful book for anyone to read. So I made a lot of little goals in that sense, but I not as far as I was going to lose 5 pounds or 10 pounds. My goal was always to get in better shape today than what I was yesterday. When she says, did you think you could reach your big goal? The first 100 pounds or 200 pounds I'd taken off, one of my weightlifting students, Sean, tremendous athlete, always has been, I took him from 130 pounds to 180 pounds, all muscle, shredded. So one day he said to me, he said, Marty, you're losing weight. He said, what's your goal is? I said, I'm going to become thin and athletic. He looked at me like I was nuts. But that was my goal. And like I say, many times my mind faltered, but I stayed the course. So yeah, I always felt that I was going to reach the goal that I'm at now. My goal today is to become more fit than I was yesterday. I'm not done changing at 52. I saw one lady when we went down to Summit. I hadn't seen her for 6 months. I have not lost 10 pounds in that 6 months. I haven't lost 10 pounds over that period. Tracy Stewart, and she's a good friend of mine, and she just had a fit about how much better I looked, how much more athletic, how much more vibrant I was. And it doesn't hurt whenever you hear a lady say, and my wife's sitting here, but it doesn't hurt for a man's ego to hear how damn good looking you are now. That helps stay the course. And my wife and I have been married 31 years, so we have a very sound marriage there. Any other questions?
Marty, I'm curious to know, at what point did you decide to become a coach in your transformation process, and what was that like for you?
When did I decide to become a coach? I was working at the grocery store I'm at, and Gail, who is my upline coach, and she's Randy's sister. Okay, so very close-knit group. Rita is her coach. That's another sister. That's Randy's coach.
Wow.
So anyway, my boss, Paul, was doing the workouts, and that's what, and he kept telling me, he said, Marty, you're losing weight, but you're not getting into shape. You're becoming a thin couch potato. And I wasn't thin yet, but he said, you're slimming down. And Gail went to Super Saturday in Lincoln, Nebraska 2 years ago, January. Sean T was there, and she came back on fire. She signed up as being a coach, and she was sitting in our office that we share, and she kept saying to me, she said, Marty, do you know of anybody that wants to sign up to be a coach? And she shared with me about how great this coaching was. And being a weightlifter, she didn't think I had any interest. And I told her, I said, well, Gail, I'd be interested in signing up. So that's how I became a coach, was the inspiration of another person. Now, she was real with me, and that was one thing Michael said, raw, real. And that's where you get away from the icky, is the fact that you just share what it's doing for you. You don't share what it's going to do for them. You share what you're excited about. And that's what won me over. She wasn't sharing any rehearsed plans or reciting anything with me like she was learning in her coaching 101. She was just being real with me. Paul was just being real with me, you know, saying, hey, you need Beachbody. So that's what inspired me to join Beachbody. I didn't know about, as far as the challenge, I didn't even know the challenge existed for probably the first 6 months I was in Beachbody, maybe close to a year. And people seeing changes in me, seeing changes in Randy. In fact, we were at a meet and greet that the group was having last Thanksgiving. And Jeff stood up, our upline coach, and he looked at Randy and I, and he said, and he'd only mentioned it to us a couple months earlier, but he said, have you joined the Beachbody Challenge? And Randy and I shrugged, and we said no. And he says, you two couldn't use $100,000? And of course we thought, well, why even try? But obviously she won the $100,000. I won close to, with everything, I won close to $40,000. Very generous that way. You know, what other company pays you to get fit like that, or gives you the opportunity to get paid to be fit? And anybody here that's always been slender, they do have the Beachbody Beast Challenge. I don't know if anybody here has been interested in joining that. That pays some good money also. And I'm not ashamed of winning the money. Some are. Some people say, well, the money's second, or the money's meaningless, or whatever. Well, yeah, getting in shape's wonderful. Being healthy is wonderful. But having some cold, hard cash to spend and being able to go on a trip. They sent me to Santa Monica. They paid everything for my wife and I to go to Nashville. I mean, how cool is that?
Wow. That is absolutely incredible. And, you know, I know there's going to be a lot of talk about your story and your attitude after this call in our own team. You know, so, you know, guys, if anybody, you know, wants to follow up with Marty, feel free to reach out to him. You can find him on Facebook. But Marty, I just have to thank you so much for just sharing your time and your story and all of those really, really great tips and insights. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Michael. It's been a pleasure and an honor.
Thank you. And thanks also to Pete for connecting with you. So much
appreciated.
Yes,
thanks, Pete.
You're welcome.
Awesome.
And definitely friend me. Reach out to me. If you have anybody that you feel you need to work with, you got any questions. I learned by sharing. I stay the course. That's one reason I stay the course so well, is that people come to me and they keep me honest. So never feel that you're being a burden to me. Never feel that you're being an annoyance. Come to me with any question. I'm willing to learn myself.
Absolutely. I couldn't close the call any better. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Good to meet everyone.